think, Marge. All I need is a title.
Okay, Amy Jackson, 24 minutes ago. What do you do with the "you were never a Christian" argument based on the idea that Jesus never lost anyone who was his?
Well, neither one of us ever were Christians.
That's true. We weren't, so we are uniquely bad people to ask that question. I was never a Christian, so I don't care.
But I think that's a fallacy. That's the no true Scotsman fallacy, that if you do something that a Christian doesn't think is in line with Christianity, then you were never a Christian. That just...
Yeah. The problem is, of course, that there aren't any objective standards for whether somebody was actually a Christian or not. For me, I tend to take people's claim that they're a Christian at face value, because identifying as a Christian is the only way I know to demonstrate that somebody is really a Christian. So if somebody tells me I was a Christian, then I believe, yeah, they were a Christian. Now, this means different things to a lot of people. It could mean, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God who died on the cross and rose 3 days later to absolve me of my sins. But then there's a lot of people with a very wide range of opinions who also say that they're Christians and maybe don't take any of that seriously, or maybe say you can't be a Christian unless you specifically believe that communion wafers literally become the flesh of Jesus Christ when you put them in your mouth. There are lots of Christians who tell each other that they're not Christians. So I guess what it comes down to is I would tell those people, if they raised it in an argument, I have no opinion about what true Christian means. And if you are gatekeeping that many Christians, then first of all, there's hardly anyone in the world who agrees with you. Every time you narrow the definition of Christian, you
lose people.
Reduce the believability and credibility and popularity, I guess, of the Christian religion. But then again, a lot of Christians want that because it makes them feel better if they're persecuted. So
you're not one of those 1821 Lutheran Synod heretics, are you?
Yeah.
Rather than in 1852.
Right, yeah.
Now for some of my own comments on this subject. This subject came up in talks with Pastor Todd Schmidt, who used this as a basis to dispute the idea that I was a born-again Christian for about 38 years of my life. Now, during some of those years, I was more diligent about practicing than others, but the point remains, from about the age of 11 to this last summer, I considered myself to be at least nominally a Christian, and quite often I practiced it, debated about it, argued fine points about it, and defended it against others. The reason why this particular argument has gotten under my skin was it seemed to invalidate the experiences of a large stretch of my lifetime. I did everything that other believers did, but when I was faced with the scientific and skeptical truth this last summer, I found that I was unable to defend my theist beliefs, and so I became an atheist. Now, my approach to this argument will change going forward because Russell was quite right. Christians are nearly always dividing themselves against each other, saying that this or that group is going to go to hell because they do not believe in the specific flavor of God that they, the real believers, do. With this in mind, it is stupid for me to allow myself to be baited by this obvious attempt to simply be rude and insulting. I believe this fallacy is used because the person saying it does not have any better argument for whatever it is that is being discussed at that point in time. Worse than simply being rude, it is a logical trap designed to make someone lose their cool. And once this happens, the overall quality of the discussion goes downhill. So it is best not to fall into the trap.